Hello, everyone, and welcome to VW MOOC 24 and our 10th anniversary. This is the final session of week one. We're starting week two tomorrow, so welcome. Whether you're here in Zoom, you're in Second Life, or whether you're watching the recording or you're watching the streaming right now. So I'm going to let you hear a little bit about what's happening, and then we'll get to the dance and the music. So Valerie Hill, Dr. Valerie Hill is going to introduce the event. So, hi, Val.
Hi, thanks, Nellie. Can you see me in Second Life?
Um, yes, of course.
Okay, I'm not dancing yet because I had to
All
troubleshoot
right.
the music. So now I've got the music and I'm ready to dance. But first, let me just welcome everyone for the VW MOOC 24 to the Commonground Networking Party. This is hosted by the nonprofit Commons Group in Second Life, which meets every Friday morning at 8:30 Second Life time. And once a month, all the communities get together for a fun color theme. If you use your camera to pan around here, you'll see yellow balloons, yellow decorations, yellow umbrellas, and many people are dressed in yellow. It's always a fun time to have a color theme. And you can see some of the people are in a group dance. You don't have to do that. You can just use your own dance. You might have one in your inventory, like I've got one right here. I'll just start dancing with. So see, I'm just dancing over by myself, but it's really fun to join a group dance. It makes you all feel like you're together in a real place with a real sense of presence. So I'm going to walk over. I think I know where the group dance is. Let me walk over and see if it's this ball. I'm not sure. See if this ball is the group dance. Touch. I think it's pulling me to the group dance. Yes. Okay, it was that golden ball. I just clicked on it and now I'm dancing with the group. So Nellie, do you have any questions for me about the Commonground networking group? And I see Nellie's joining the group dance. Yay.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the gray is in the back. Is that something that's part of it?
Okay, let me pan around. This whole area that we're in, underneath a big yellow canopy, is what Pi Illios, who is a librarian in Puerto Rico, a medical librarian, she's part of the community virtual library. She has decorated this area with the yellow lights, umbrellas, all of that. And there's a building behind us. If your settings allow you to zoom in on the building, that is the Community Virtual Library's information center called Social Determinants of Information Access, where we have all kinds of presentations on topics like digital legacy, a room on African American studies and literature and cultural communities around the world. We have a whole area on confirmation bias and how we can be digital citizens. All kinds of informational exhibits are in that building. So that's what's behind us, because we are dancing at the area that's part of the Community Virtual Library. It's just across the sim in another building where we actually have books and all kinds of resources in different formats. So that's where we're located. That's just for this month, because the Community Virtual Library is hosting this event as part of a community networking called Commonground Networking Party.
So I mean, how many groups are involved in the Vita in this Commons
I would say anyone is welcome to join the Nonprofit Commons. And I've been on their
nonprofit, sorry.
board. It's that Nonprofit Commons sponsors this monthly dance and event. But the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, we have all the educational communities. And Nonprofit Commons is one of them. And I'd say we have, probably 25 communities as part of our community virtual education consortium. Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. Commonground networking, it's a lot of networking for nonprofits, such as different social communities for social good. Things like autism, things like people who are raising money for various entities, like the one for the heart, association once a year, and women's cancer, and rare diseases, and all kinds of nonprofits. They have a presence in Second Life, and they partner through the nonprofit Commons. So, Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, we have databases because of the Community Virtual Library, directories and databases that help all these groups find each other. Because how are you going to find people in virtual worlds if you don't have a way to find that information? So, as you know, I'm part of the Community Virtual Library. I'm a real world librarian, but now we support the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium because people don't know, why would you go to a library in a virtual world? They don't understand why. What we do is we're librarians that help people find simulations, communities, people in virtual environments. Does that help answer the question of why are these people dancing together?
I think so. Yeah.
Good.
If there are any
Yeah.
other questions, perhaps Andrea or anyone
Yeah,
else would. Yes.
I was interested in knowing how to join that library. How can we join? How can
Yes.
we
Okay.
contact you?
Now in Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and put in Zoom then the information. I'm going to give you the websites. We're really partnered now, but I'll give you just the Community Virtual Library where I'm the librarian, and I've been the librarian there for about 10 years, although I've worked there for 18 years, but I became the director about 10 years ago. And so this is the Community Virtual Library website. I'm putting it in the Zoom chat. But
Okay,
now
great.
we do all our work over at the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. So I'm going to put that website in, and you're going to notice the word library is right on the left-hand side of the page, and it leads to our library. But what we do is we do all of our reference work and real library work over at the consortium, because as I said, people think they're going to come and get a book. And why do you need to get a book in a virtual library? You can. We really do have books, and they're simulated books that open and close. They're really cool. But that's not really the main point of the library. The point is to find real information that's going to help you in virtual worlds. Subject area experts, let's say you're into history. Where could you find a really cool history simulation? Well, here in the local chat in Zoom, I'll give you the VWEC Consortium website. And when you open that up, right on the left-hand side, you see, it'll say library. Live help available here. And you'll notice that in just a few minutes today at noon, my name shows up there. Val Librarian will be on duty right after this party. I'm going over there to do my hourly shift. And anyone who wants to help us can come there and have a shift and help and network and partner and learn all about education in virtual worlds. So that's why we do our work at the consortium.
All right. So
Great.
I've allowed everyone to unmute themselves. So feel free to unmute yourself.
I see people from Pakistan and Egypt. This is wonderful. I have a colleague in Egypt, and she helps me with our K-12 initiative, which is teaching kids how to learn and build in a Minecraft-like world. And so this is a very global community.
You know, the group dance is absolutely amazing. It feels great rather than, kind of, it gives a sense of collaboration where when you dance alone, you don't have that sense. And I think that when I say dancing, I mean the avatar is dancing, obviously, but there's that feel nonetheless, that immerses you in whatever you're doing in Second Life, whether it's walking, running, flying, or dancing. And dancing together has, an amazing effect. How do you feel about that, Andrea, since you're dancing too? Andrea's here
Yeah,
as well.
it's powerful. My God, I can't believe it.
And you can offer friendship if you want to call. I see you, Andrea. Is it okay if it says Andrea Arfini?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
that's me.
I'm gonna offer friendship, although it says away right now, but I'm gonna add you as a friend. Okay, you'll see if you get it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I like the group dance because it makes you really feel like you're all doing something together in a real place. And this is a real
Yes.
place. It is a real place. It's 3D, it's virtual, but it's real.
You know, people have lost weight doing something like this, which is amazing because your
Well,
body, it does affect your mind and your body. You know, it's not just your avatar doing, you are part of it.
yeah.
So when you're doing
And
mindfulness in Second Life or Tai Chi, whatever you're doing, your mind doesn't really know that it's virtual as far as it's concerned. You know, it's reality. So it does affect our brain. And there's lots of
yes,
research
you're
on it
right.
for anyone who's interested in immersion and virtual worlds, such as Second Life, which is this one.
Yeah.
The
Oh, and of
question
course,
is, what is more powerful? Which is what I'm asking, virtual worlds or virtual reality? With a headset, of course.
yes, and I'm on my, well, I'm going to get a third headset. I use the headsets to compare because how can I say I love this so much more and that it's better if I don't try it? I
Right.
don't like my headset at all. I've tried it many times. I go to a lot of worlds across the metaverse to research this for learning, and I feel trapped in the headset.
Mm.
Here, I feel fully immersed, but I do have a pretty big screen. You know, the mobile app on the phone, I'm not sure I'd feel fully immersed.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Second Life is now experimenting with a beta version of a mobile app for Second Life, which is going to be available for everyone very soon for free.
Yes.
Yeah, what I didn't really like about the app is that you cannot really feel comfortable creating things.
Right.
You need a big screen, I guess.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of young people now just have tablets or phones or smaller devices. So they love having the mobile apps. You know, and it might even be generational. If you're older, you know, you really want to be able to see better, you know.
Yes.
But I think as far as I know, creating or building on the app is not possible, only on your desktop, but maybe that'll
Yeah.
change.
Yes, but one good advantage of the mobile app is when you're on the go. Like if I have to go be somewhere, I can still participate in a meeting and not miss out. So there's times when that will be beneficial.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm wondering
Mr.
about the effects. Sorry, I'm wondering about the effects. Everything here is built. In other words, except for the avatars, the landscape is available. But Val, can you maybe tell us a little bit about what is built in here besides the buildings for the stands? What went into it?
Yeah, oh, sure. Next to this, we have an information park. And right now it has spring flowers in it. We haven't really done a lot of events since last spring in the park, but sometimes that's totally changed to like winter scenes and snow and falling leaves. So you have that nature. You can put whatever season you want in here for special events. Right now, P has just used this particular area and built the yellow theme, but sometimes she changed this whole area. She's done storytelling events like Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. We did read alouds with fairies and it's beautiful sparkling woods. It was brilliant. Another time she did Arabian Nights, and it was like you were entering another country with the awnings and the marketplace, and we can dress in the historical costumes for those events. So this space is very dynamic. She'll change this, and it can be whatever you want it to be. And then you also can create mountains. You can landscape and create mountains and valleys and waterfalls. And over at VWEC, we have a landscaper who really strives to make all of it realistic with the kind of animals and scenery that would be in that area. So there's a balance between it being like fantasy worlds or realistic worlds. And that in itself is great for teaching, because you can talk about what the physical world is like, what fantasy worlds are like, all of that. And you don't have to wear a historical outfit, but you can, and you can talk about what were they wearing back in the 1600s. So there's just so much you can do here that you can build and change.
You mentioned getting dressed up. How does that work?
Well, you can find, a lot of times we give clothes for free. There's lots of free clothes, but there's also an online store called the Second Life Marketplace, where you can buy clothes. And then there are also a lot of different Sims and places where you can go find historical clothes by era. And also our community virtual library partners with an online library called the Antique Pattern Library. We can find real historical researched patterns and clothes. And we've built a library in the virtual world of Kitely to exemplify that. How can we be really authentic with history in these virtual environments? Not that, and I always say, not that we want to be the costume cops, and say, hey, that outfit's not accurate, but it gives us a talking point for students, like they weren't wearing tennis shoes in the 1800s. We can talk about it, and it's really fun. Like we do the Dickens Project every month of December, and there's a whole recreation of London in the 1800s, and we do read alouds of Charles Dickens, and we dress in the attire, and it's just amazing. It's like you're entering a book. You're entering the story, not just reading it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me, you mentioned Kitely. For those who don't know, how does Kitely fit in with Second Life?
Kitely is Second Life gave the code, the open source code of how it's built. And so a lot of worlds have used that code and created a whole nother world outside of Second Life. So our consortium goes to all these worlds. They're all a part of us, even though Second Life is the main one. So I'll put that in local chat. Kitely is a world where we have the consortium. Once a month, we go on tours to other worlds. But there are people who say, I don't want to go to any other world. I love Second Life, and that's just too confusing for me. So they don't go. Second Life is fine. You can do everything you want there. But there are advantages.
Are they connected? Can you go
No,
from one?
Oh, they are on the Kitely is connected to all the open source worlds. You can jump from world to world. It's called hypergridding. We go on hypergrid hops from world to world. You can't in Second Life, because Second Life is owned by Linden Labs. It's a proprietary company, which we love, and they have helped us. We are in partnership with the Lindens at Linden Lab, and they've even given us a huge welcome area. They've been great for education. But the other open source worlds, they're a lot cheaper for education. You can buy huge pieces of land cheaper than Second Life. So there are educators out there in Kitely, Wolf Territories, OpenSim, all these other worlds. And so I put Kitely in the chat. That's our hub to jump to all these other worlds. And there is a learning curve. It took me a long time to figure out where my suitcase was so that my clothes wouldn't disappear when I jumped from world to world. But we take people on tours and we help them learn that. And it's great because there are educators all across the metaverse, but they don't know each other and they don't realize what people have built. And that's what the consortium is all about.
To connect.
Right, to connect, to network.
Yes, to network across the evolving metaverse. And, a lot of people think the metaverse means headsets, but it doesn't. Like I say, I have headsets. And we also have a group that explores once a month to a different world. Just last week, we went to Roblox. Roblox is the biggest virtual world in the world, and kids are there and they can build.
Yeah, it's just for kids, right?
No, the adults are there too, but kids are. In fact, some of the adults that I know want to build there. We will have a VWEC presence there, but it's it's like that is huge. But a lot of people want to use headsets. So we explore and see that potential. But mostly, here's an example in Roblox. I'm looking for a library, right? I'm looking for a school, and so I find a school game, but it was kill the evil cafeteria lady. I mean, that's not educational. Or it's,
Yeah.
go to the haunted library. It's all gaming. It's not real serious learning. So what my goal is to try to find ways to help teachers use this for real learning, not just slaying zombies. Because most video games are shooting, killing, slaying zombies, and leveling up.
Yes.
Beat the big
Yes.
boss. It's all about killing the big boss. And so what I'm doing with the kids in Mind Test is trying to challenge them to help me figure out how to make, and I built a game for kids to teach them digital citizenship when I was a school librarian. And it was serious learning. They built a game to show digital citizenship. And that's what we want them to realize is that right now it's separate. School is for learning, games are for fighting, killing, leveling up. We need to merge those two because they're not learning digital citizenship otherwise.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mind Test.
Exactly.
That's not Minecraft. Can you explain the difference between the two?
Yes. And we're going there on the MOOC. Let me see. I've got it on my calendar here.
Yes.
It's going to be on Saturday, the 24th of this month at 11:30. Right now, it's a very small group of us. Mind Test is free. For Minecraft, it costs about $35 US right now, I think, to
Went
get
up.
it.
It used to be 27 something.
Well, I haven't bought it in a good while. I think it has gone up. And teachers don't want to pay for something. They're not sure they're going to use it with their students. So the person I told you that lives in Egypt, Olive Tree, and she's very active in virtual environments, she shared this with me and it's free. And I'll put that in the chat too. I'll put in the chat if you're interested in it, you can contact me later. You just download it. It's all free. And then you can get started on it and build whatever you want without any cost. And then all the learning that we do in Mind Test transfers over to Minecraft. There are even some advantages. You can dig way deeper in Mind Test, like I think it's like 10,000 blocks deep, where in Mind Test it's only like a few thousand. So it's got a lot of advantages. It's a really wonderful environment for kids. And so I'll put in the Zoom how to get started. And you can contact me later if you are interested. We meet there on Saturdays. It's a small group, and we're also collaborating with a professor in Turkey who is going to share this research. He has a VR lab, but like we were talking about, he doesn't think VR headsets are good for kids. We don't even know what they do for their developing brains, So he wants to use Mind Test as a way to get kids to understand, serious learning in the metaverse without headsets at first.
There's so much to learn.
Talking about headsets, I read somewhere that they're not made for women because women, apparently our eyes don't focus in the same way as men, something about the size of our eyes.
Yes, there's research, you're right.
Yeah, and it's interesting that and the idea is to get, developers to develop headsets and to think of women in general, even with the internet, with the screens, women are more susceptible to double vision and all kinds of things and men are not, because for that very reason, because females are not kept in mind when it comes to testing headsets, for example.
Yeah.
And I would love that to be something that I'm sure it will be in the future.
Yes. And, headsets, they will evolve to where a lot of these things will be better. And with the haptics, it'll be very realistic. But that's why I am passionate. The reason I'm here is I'm passionate about digital citizenship, especially with AI evolving. We need to figure out how to use all these tools wisely. We need to think about mental health and addiction, and we need to think about remaining human and being able to tell AI bots and cyborgs from human beings, as all this evolves. And you have to think about that up front because AI was released to the public before any legislation, before anybody thought about what it's going to do. And so that's why we need to use these worlds and be clear about our purpose, our intent, and our balance with physical world time.
Except in some countries, such as Canada, they didn't open Gemini, which was Google Bard, until way
Oh,
after
right.
everybody else. And in
That's true.
Italy and other parts, but Italy specifically disallowed,
Interesting.
and they also have an age restriction. You're not allowed, or even with parents, you're not allowed to let your children use AI until they're, I think, 18 or something, or between 16 and 18. In high school, they're not allowed to use it. So, they're limiting. And the question is, maybe they're right. Like you said, there hasn't been enough testing going on to check how this affects
Yes.
young learners.
Yes, that's what my daughter, she's in the mental health field and she's researching the impact of AI.
Oh,
She did a
wonderful.
presentation in Second Life for Virtual Ability Island, which does a lot with, health. And she's going to do one for VWEC because a lot of teenagers are forming relationships with AI. AI is moving into intimacy. You can have a companion. And it is 24/7 there remembers everything you said. So is very comforting to you. There's going to be some problems with that. But she says that they are, like you said, they are having some restrictions because they're realizing some of the problems and they're lowering the age limit and even watching out a little bit for some of the content that, gets put out there, what they talk about with the AI. I'm not in that field, but when she does the talk, I'm very interested in it.
I think it's a very important field right now, and definitely in the future. The idea that it's not just young learners; it's also adults who are lonely, and they've got stress or other problems, and they need someone to be there for them, to listen to them. And I think AI is probably the best listener. Well, I think the best listener.
I know.
Because they're very nice. I mean,
and always available
polite.
and remembers everything, what you like. There is a question in the local chat in Second Life, and it's saying from Wisdom Seeker, I wonder if the virtual world MOOC students who joined us here could say what the experience is like to dance in world. So if you have anything you want to say back, I'll put it in chat.
Or please feel free
Well,
to speak. Yes, go ahead, Andrea.
For me, it's amazing. I feel so relaxed. Seeing myself dancing all together. It connects ourselves in such a way that I'm feeling relaxed, not tired of dancing.
Okay,
That's a good point. You don't get tired. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
But it does give you energy. At least I feel, this energy, as my avatar moves around. The question is, how do you connect with your avatar? Right now we're speaking, which has a different effect. When you're not, I find that when I'm not speaking, when I'm really immersed without speaking, just being with my avatar, it's a kind of mindfulness state. Or
exactly. That's why I say I feel relaxed, because I don't know, I feel connected to that group of people all dancing together.
And in the chat, I see Marley just said something you might find interesting. She said, you all look great dancing together, and I hope you can appreciate us outliers who like to do our own dances. She's not joining the group. So it's interesting. Sometimes you'll see an avatar like sitting out over to the side, and also another powerful tool is you can IM that person. And because you're like, why are they sitting all by themselves? If you can, and you can also right click on an avatar and make a note. Like say, I met this person at the dance and we talked, because then you'll remember them the next time you see them. So there are tools here that help us better connect. I wish I could right click on a person in the real world.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Sometimes, you walk or you're in the mall or, among people and you think, these people are just like me, and yet we're not connect. I mean, we can't really approach anyone. It wouldn't be appropriate, and we can't really touch them or, say, even smile at them could be, so you can't really be human among people. And here with your avatars, you can. And you can even bump into people, and that's fine. It's
Yes,
accepted. If you so I think that that does something, and maybe that's another thing with AI and young people that is important because they can also connect. And the question is, what does all this do for us as people? The fact that we can communicate and be more human as an avatar than we can as a human being. There's something that we might want to bring over from here to real life. And maybe
absolutely.
some people do it. I know
Yeah.
Peonia did, and she mentioned this in her classes. I remember something like, I guess 12 years ago, I interviewed Peonia, and she mentioned that in her physical class, she was already in virtual worlds, and she was teaching here and doing different things and learning. And she said in her real class, because she was exposed to, say, bugs who were people and different creatures in Second Life, when she saw a spider in her class, she felt close to that spider. She could relate to that spider because of her experience as an avatar with spiders. What happens to to the creatures or, the non-human looking avatars? Because most of us, which is a question too, most of us want Second Life to kind of, be familiar and our avatars to look kind of human. But the ones that don't have human avatars or human looking avatars, how does this work?
Yes, and this is a great question. There's some research on avatar identity, and some people like myself, I'm the same exact person. I'm here to be a librarian. I'm me in both places, no difference. And I feel really weird if I wear a strange avatar, like for an event. Zri over there, the bird, he's always a bird, and today he's yellow. He changes colors for different, he's always a bird. And I really would like to interview him sometime and find out, why did you choose the bird? I mean, it's so interesting. And then
Exactly.
there are some people who come as what are called tinies. They don't want a human avatar. They come as like a little bunny or a little kitten. I don't really know why. It's like they just always do. Or that some are full-sized avatars, but they're called furries. They might be a panther or a fox or something. And I think they don't feel the same way about identifying their avatar as being really needing to look like their physical world body. So there's a lot to it. And there's also the idea that I know a guy that's in a wheelchair and always has been in a wheelchair. And here in the virtual world, he can walk, he can run, he can fly. And it's like, so his avatar, and it's like your avatar somehow, whether you understand it or not, reflects something that's really deep in your essence. And when I meet a person in the physical world that I know pretty well from the virtual world, they're exactly like their avatar. Whether they look like
Exactly.
them or not, they're just like their avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that identity for example, look at me. I'm always dressed kind of, very, very modest. I wouldn't let any parts show or, because that's how I am in the real world. I don't, I just wouldn't. And yet some people prefer to be able to be something else. They don't want to be themselves. They want to be able to feel free to be as they would if they didn't have any inhibitions. And we all have well, most of us have inhibitions in real life. And here you don't have to have any inhibitions. You could be as sexy as you want to be or as manly as you want to be. And that's fine. And I think actually the avatar are made, most of them are kind of um, kind of showing different parts in a very
A little
kind of
provocative,
sexual,
maybe.
provocative. I was going to say sexual. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I have always tried to stay away from that. But I think that's part of our nature, and that just shows that you do identify with your avatar. Otherwise, you would just go wild and do whatever. You wouldn't try to be picky about the clothes you wear, or you wouldn't try to be picky about the skin color, and I think there's a lot of learning involved in this because maybe there's a way to do things that you wouldn't normally do. Let's say, for example, if you prefer your avatar to have light skin, make it black, and see how you feel. Learn about your maybe there are biases
Yeah.
about, learn about yourself by letting go and creating avatars that are, the opposite of what you would be.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
first thing that most kids or adults want to do when we go to a new virtual world is customize the avatar because everybody looks the same at first. You can't tell who's who, and you want to pick. In some worlds, they call it picking your skins, and you want to identify and be unique. And some people, like with me, I have my book hat. I always wear my books on my head, and it's just become easy that people can find me. So they can find me, and because I always have the books on my head. But other people change their avatar all the time. Like the guy who right now is a yellow submarine. He's actually that yellow submarine.
Oh, you're
And
kidding.
no,
That's an
Is that
avatar?
is that an avatar?
yes,
I
that's
thought it was just a
Stranger.
prompt.
No,
Oh
it's
my
not a prompt.
gosh.
And Stranger, he has hundreds of avatars. Whatever event he goes to,
Wow.
he's always the best dressed avatar. I mean, he's got so many historical costumes, space suits. He can be anything, and he's always something different. It's really fun when Stranger arrives to see what he's going to be,
Wow,
Wow, I
that's
thought he was just
amazing.
Mhm.
yeah, I thought it was just the decoration of the place.
Right,
That's what
right.
I thought.
We do have a
Wow.
little covenant over at the Virtual World Education Consortium that if you're going to work there at the info center, we don't want any nudity. We strive to look
Oh, okay. So here
professional.
we go. So
Yeah,
now, okay, that was my point. My point was, can we go beyond that? Because after all, these are only avatars. So why can't we have I don't know, for example, a nude avatar, as you said, you wouldn't, allow something like that, or, you know, what are we afraid of?
right.
That's
Yes, and I'll give you an example because we've always at the library, it's a real library and it's about serious education. So we don't want nudity. We say, don't come in a skimpy bikini or something. This is a serious place. Well, one day I was working at the reference desk and this giant snake avatar came in.
oh my
Real,
gosh.
really
Oh,
long. I mean, with this long, and I do not like snakes, but I didn't say anything.
Neither do I.
Because you can turn your camera. I just turned my camera away and just said, hi, this is a real library. What are you looking for in Second Life? And began a conversation. Well, then another avatar came in and she said, I don't like your avatar. You are so scary looking. He changed himself into a bunny.
Oh
And
my
I thought, how
oh,
gosh.
nice. It was really nice. It was like he realized that avatar was threatening. And so you can be what you want to be, but you can also turn your camera. You can, you don't have to. And I also years ago took a griefing class. They offered that, which means when you first come in, if there's someone that's being real threatening and does something real threatening, what do you do? Well, there's different tips that you can learn, but the main thing is just log out. It's like if a scary movie comes on TV, just turn it off, So, but I've never really run into that because I've only worked in the educational places. Usually threatening people don't come into the library, they might accidentally come in with something skimpy on because they don't know how to get dressed, and we help them.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, at the beginning. And not just that for, newbies, sometimes, you want to get new clothes or whatever, and you detach different, your clothing, and it's very uncomfortable. So I think not knowing is also part of it. And you may feel uncomfortable, but the question is, why would you feel uncomfortable? It's only an avatar. That's what I'm saying. There is definitely, identity here. You do identify with your avatar.
Well, that happened to me yesterday.
Oh,
I
here we
was
go.
wearing a dress and I wanted to change my clothes, and I was completely naked and I felt so uncomfortable. Although there were no people around, but well, I grabbed whatever I found first just to have something on. And
That's
then it's
it.
true. You realize that it's just an avatar. It's not you. But at the same time it's you. So it's I don't know, mixed feelings,
But
Exactly.
but sometimes up to what point can you separate one from the other?
Exactly.
It's an
Exactly.
avatar, but it represents you.
Yeah.
What do you want to portray?
Yeah, but no one knows you. The thing is that when something happens to your avatar, nobody knows you. I mean, it's not like, they see the real you plus your avatar next to you. No one knows who you are here,
Yeah,
so why be
But
embarrassed?
you do.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
exactly, you do what you are, and that. What about your principles?
Hmm.
Would you be able to do that in real life? I mean, not only being naked, but other things people do, like when there are griefers. Would they be able to do? Would they do that in real life?
But they don't feel they could be.
Well,
But
there is portraying real life.
Yeah.
They would be able to do that in real life. So
well,
they,
that's with young learners, young people. Sometimes not even young people, but sometimes they feel in social networks, for example, they could say anything because it's not real.
And
But
they
here
think
it's
that,
even more so.
yeah, they're like, I think I'm anonymous. Nobody really knows it's me. So I can be,
Exactly,
and that is the
exactly.
core of digital citizenship. You are who you are everywhere. And if you hurt somebody and you're anonymous, you still hurt them whether you got caught or not. And a digital citizenship is a personal responsibility for learning how to do all this. Nobody can monitor that for you. Kids can go anywhere online. They have to learn to be personally responsible from a young age.
Yeah, that's why I think learning about these things at a very young age is very, very important. And this could be done, in school where you can bring, into, you mentioned Kitely perhaps, but even here in Second Life, I don't know if that's possible to bring in groups so that they could see life. I mean, you take your child to the mall, or you take them to they're exposed to the real world. Why not expose them to this?
Yes, but unfortunately, technology has so rapidly evolved. Most teachers do not understand how to teach digital citizenship. I taught it as a librarian and got my school certified but a lot of teachers they don't know. There's not a set curriculum. And at my grandson's school, I went and talked to the librarian and she said, we just leave that up to the teachers. The teachers they don't have any curriculum to teach digital citizenship. And it's constantly evolving. So this is a huge problem, for me, it's like that's why now that I'm a retired librarian, that's why I'm in the metaverse, because the kids are there, but
Oh, look
nobody
at the
is
bird!
teaching.
Look at the
Yeah, look,
bird!
he's
Oh my
and look,
gosh,
and do you see the flowing hearts that come
hearts!
out? Yeah, the hearts. And there's a lot of fun tools you can have too, like colorful tools to add to your party, and you can change it to midnight, like if there's fireworks.
Oh, that's
And
lovely.
I said we were talking about Zri the bird, and so he said in the chat here, Chirp, chirp to everyone on the stream.
Oh, the colors are so beautiful. Unbelievable. It's absolutely beautiful. Make the world a better place. I think they should have sessions, conferences, in virtual worlds.
Yes.
Just in virtual worlds, not through Zoom. Sorry, saying that about Zoom, but virtually in virtual worlds, so that
Yeah,
may
I wonder if anybody's in the Zoom chat here that's watching this. If you've never been in the world and you're looking at these people dancing, it is not the same at all as being there yourself doing it. Because some people might look at it and go, well, that just looks like cartoons. Well, when you're in it and you've created it, it's a whole different feeling.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that reminds me
Definitely.
of my children. Whenever they see, they drop by and they come into my room and they look at Second Life. I'm in Second Life and they say, "Mom, you're playing Sims again."
Right, right.
You're playing. It's like, "Mom, you're playing Barbie." That's what they see it as. Playing. And Second Life, unlike some of the other worlds, like you mentioned before, is not playing. I mean, unless you're playing, it is and it isn't. But there aren't any games such as fighting and trying to gain points. There, as such. I mean, you can create games and competitive games, but this platform wasn't built for that.
No,
It's unlike,
it's a real place. It's not a game. And I never was a gamer, but we are going to sort of gamify our info center and give little ribbons to people who go out exploring to help with our database. And because people love to earn
Oh,
things,
that would
badges.
be great.
Yeah. So, you can gamify things, but still make them serious and purposeful.
yeah, but the platform itself
It's not a
doesn't,
game. Yeah.
is not a game, exactly.
Exactly. And I just added a glowing hula hoop that's yellow and a little hula. So, you can add all these fun things. And if you turn to midnight, you'll see a lot of the glowing lights and the things at a different time of day, which is often fun.
Wow.
There it is. There, Peonia, and now we can see the hula hoops. You've got a few of them there. Wow, how are you managing that?
Those were, you get free gifts at a
No,
conference
I'm
I
kidding.
went
I'm
to.
kidding.
Yeah, you get these free gifts. Yeah, well, it's like, how do I balance these books on my
Yeah,
head too?
exactly.
That took a lot of practice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. That's lovely. Any questions? I'm looking at the chat to see if there are
Yes.
any questions or comments from anyone. Let's
Oh,
see.
look
Oh,
at
Noreen, you're
Noreen.
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Noreen, did you manage to get in? Noreen?
Hi, Dr. Nelly.
Hi. Did you manage to get in yesterday? We tried so hard to
Yeah,
find you.
not at that time, but later on. Actually, I just wrote in the chat as well. This is all actually too new for me, and I am still trying to really, first of all, understand what is it and how is it and what to do. So, right now I'm on my phone, but I don't know if I can bring my avatar here on the phone. But in the daytime, I sat down with my laptop and I have an avatar, and I accepted both the friendship requests from two friends yesterday who sent over.
That's wonderful. Those are huge steps.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, Noreen is new in Second Life, and she's doing it. She's very determined to learn. And the thing is, it's how to, because you won't figure out what it is until you're in there and
Yeah.
exploring, and then you kind of understand it, and you also learn
Mm.
about yourself at the same time, which I think is a huge benefit of being in Second Life.
I see Salah Helden says, how can we incorporate Second Life into our classrooms? So I've answered that that's the purpose of the VWE Consortium. They're the website. We have models of teaching to show you all the different, there's no one set way. And to show you lots of different ways to get you started and, how you can put real serious curriculum in there. We have a student challenge where we've done it twice. It starts up again in the spring in February, where students compete to build serious simulations. So there's just a lot of different things to learn. And what's interesting is the students will take to it quicker than the educators because they've grown up with technology. And so we help give the tools so the students can begin to do that.
Now you can ask maybe in Second Life the avatars, how do they feel? They asked us, I think Marley asked how those of us in Zoom feel watching this, but how do they feel?
Oh, do it right now.
And then we'll get some input back and forth.
Okay, I'll tell them that. And it looks like P just handed everybody a yellow hula hoop. So I'm going to take off my double one and wear P's. So
I think
like
I
everyone
accepted
else.
it, but I don't have it.
Okay, I'm going to take off the one that I am wearing. Let's see. Detach it. And then P's, it's called, if you look in your inventory, it's just called yellow hula hoop.
Oh, that's right, yellow. Yeah, that's what it is.
And now I'm going to add mine. You just right click, but be sure you don't wear it. Choose add. A lot of times if you choose wear, it'll take your clothes off.
There.
And you can see that P is saying she feels wonderful. And Gwyneth says, I'm hauling it. And Beth is saying, enjoying being part of the group. That's what you feel like. You're part of a group.
Yeah.
And Wisdom Seeker says, I'm actually doing this standing at a computer. So, you can actually stand and you can have your actual body moving around to it too. I often find my feet are just, tapping, you're into it. So you feel it physically.
So where is Wisdom? What is he as today? That yellow submarine?
No, Wisdom Seeker she's got a yellow hula hoop on. She is Lynn Barrett. She is
that's right. That's Lynn Barrett.
She has an amazing simulation called Inspiration Island and Whole Brain Health. And she does a project for the ageless mind. How to keep your brain. Yeah, she's going
to present. So you'll get a chance to see what it's like to have a workshop on health. It's not mindfulness, it's something else, right?
Yeah,
look at the bird. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Look at the bird dancing. I didn't get that angle.
And all that I could see is just a yellow lemon tree.
Look at the bird. Unbelievable.
Turning my head up and down. Turning around.
There's Peonia singing.
She's just a yellow lemon tree.
She's a lemon tree. Okay. Yellow. Unbelievable. This is so beautiful. I've never seen that. You can never see that. Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
that
amazing.
is so beautiful. Wow. Look at that. That is amazing. Wow. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. That is, I don't know, what does it do for you? Yeah, exactly. What does that do for you? Oh, I don't know. It's I feel so wonderful watching it.
And
Okay.
it's, you know, it's a real place, and think that, you know, behind the scenes, people are IMing each other. They're networking about, you know,
Chatting.
they're
Yes.
chatting. For me, it's a great way. A lot of times during these dances, I am booking tours, because I book tours for the American Library Association so that other librarians and educators can get examples of what do people do in these worlds. You know, like on the MOOC, in fact, on the 21st, we're going to a cybersecurity simulation that will be on the ALA, American Library Association website. And there's like 450 members. They don't really come in here, but they just kind of lurk and watch, and they're like, wow, look what people are doing. It's a way to share what this is all about.
You can get a glimpse of what it looks like. There it is.
Oh, good. You
What
panned
about
out
things?
the
What about things flying around?
those flickering things, if you just move your camera, those are probably different, like invisible particles and things. And it also depends on all your settings. Sometimes like P might have these floating, you know, butterflies, or she may have some things that are kind of invisible around, and those textures show up on your camera depending on your settings.
Yeah, that's
But,
what I thought.
Yeah, but you know, she built the yellow canopy, and then underneath it, all of the different yellow things. And over in the courtyard, she's selling lemonade, a little yellow lemonade stand there. You're camming
There
above
it
that
is.
lemon. Yeah. And so it's just, you know, not everybody wants to do everything. P loves to build and decorate. So I asked her, since we were the hosts, hey, you want to decorate yellow? I don't have a lot of time to build and decorate, and I don't want to develop that skill. I do like to shoot video. Some people don't want that skill. You don't need to learn everything to be here. You just need to learn what you want to learn, you know, and then partner with those that have the skills as builders, you know, decorators, people who want to make clothes. I've never made any virtual clothes, but the dress that I'm wearing, the yellow dress, a very good friend of mine who I've met in the physical world, that's made by Zinnia, who's a great designer of clothes. So, you know, everybody learns what they want to do and what they want to share.
Lovely.
Yes.
All right. So there is music, but we haven't turned it on. But we will have music when you watch the recording. I will add music.
Oh, right. I didn't turn mine on either because it was so loud. I couldn't hear our conversation with the loud. And when
Exactly.
I went to turn it down, I could barely hear you because, you know, it was,
Right.
so I didn't play the music. But imagine this. And the great thing about the music, the DJ, Tori, it's all yellow themed. It's all
Wow.
yellow songs, and she'll say things in between. So it just adds and
Can you
amplifies.
explain that to those who a DJ in
Yeah.
Second Life?
I was going to zoom into her. She's okay. Where's Tori? She's over to the side, like she's over by the water side, and you'll see she has on a yellow dress, and it says DJ Tori Landau. She is actually playing all this music. And she's picked songs that are all about yellow, sunshine songs. So the event is yellow themed, both in music, in decor, and DJs. They actually, you know, there are DJs here. We have a music library, and once a month we have Second Life musicians come in and play live music. So music is a huge part of this as well. And it's not just playing some random music, it's music specifically curated for this event, the yellow themed Commonground networking party.
So you can create a playlist.
Yes, a playlist, and stream it live on the internet. And then I put in the stream link on this land, because this land is part of the community virtual library. So I put in that stream that she gives me, and then we all listen to the same music at the same time. And sometimes they'll be talking about the song. They might be like, oh, I remember this song. I loved it in high school. Or that, you know, everybody talks about the music because it's a very shared event.
And there are also concerts, by the way. People earn a living or extra income. Some of them actually make a lot of money in Second Life by giving concerts. And
Wow.
there's some quite famous people. I mean, I read about I think it was in one of the books on virtual worlds where yeah, some yeah, they're retired and they don't appear anywhere. So they do their concerts in Second Life. There was one guy, I think he passed away. He was in his 90s, a jazz musician. Have you heard of that?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I think in Making a Metaverse That Matters, the book by
Yeah,
James,
That's right, by James
Wagner
Wagner.
Au, he
Exactly,
talks a lot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so folks,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Um,
Nellie.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you, Nelly.
Thank you for being part of this.
Thank
And,
you.
and next time you'll be the ones for the closing ceremony. Everyone will be dancing, I'm sure. You'll join
Yes.
us. All right, so with the music. So thank you everyone. And you can bring
Thank
your own
you.
music, of course, if and give it to Val. Thank you. Thank you,
You.
Val, for hosting and providing all the explanations here and for being with us.
Thank you. I'm going to head out. Hope to see you in Second Life. Bye-bye.